I'm always quite modest in my approach.
Morning, everyone. Ways and Means Committee will come to order. Clerk will note the roll. There is a quorum. We have the minutes of May 10th before us. Representative Carlson moves approval of the minutes of May 10th. Is there any discussion, corrections, changes to the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. The minutes are approved. Okay, members, let me just give you a brief outline of the agenda for the day. We have a change in the budget resolution that I'm going to be proposing taking up to accommodate a change in the bonding bill on the House floor today. Then we are going to go into recess because we do not yet have formal possession of the pension bill. Then when session is eventually done today, we will, I anticipate, come back to this room to take up and pass the pension bill. Meanwhile, we are going to have the Supplemental Finance Conference Committee meet at 11 a.m. today. We're going to meet in the Capitol in room 120 there, so that if we are there in session when we are in session on the floor, we can go up and take votes as needed. And we have posted as of 1 a.m. last night 3 bills, the language and spreadsheets for agriculture, higher ed, and environment. So I anticipate that we'll take those up at 11 a.m. And then there are a number of other bills that there's been a lot of progress on, perhaps not completely finished, but a lot of progress that we can also do. I particularly say education, finance, health and human services, transportation, and jobs. There's a lot that is ready to go, although it hasn't been posted on those. And so I'm hoping that we will post those at some point relatively soon during the day, and so that we'll recess from the conference committee once we're done with those first 3 bills, and when it's time, we'll start working on those other bills. So that's kind of the overall agenda. Questions, Representative Carlson?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, are the targets set then for all the conference committees?
As of about midnight last night, yes.
Okay, and are they public yet?
I don't think we've made them public, no, but we need to do that. Thank you for reminding me.
And if, when you're ready, then if you could let the minority know
Absolutely.
what those targets are. And in addition to that, if we could find out what the impact would be in the out biennium as well. I assume that you probably have informally
Yep, tails
talked
targets.
about the future biennium and what those tails targets might be.
Yeah.
I know you released the tails targets relative to the House budget resolution, even though it's not part of it. So if you could tell us maybe at that point what both numbers are.
Sure, yeah, I'll get that to you. Thank you for reminding me on that, Representative Carlson. It was just a very late night here last night, and I just haven't gotten that stuff all done yet.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? All right, well then I want to go to the first order of business today, which is modifying the budget resolution. In your packet, we have the BRES 01-1, which is the budget resolution as it stands now, and I'm going to move the A10 amendment. Now, what the A10 amendment does is, first of all, it takes out the stadium reserve account budget limit. And the reason we're doing that is that we don't want to be double counting anything on the floor when it comes to things in the bonding bill today. And the second thing is we're going to increase the amount of cash that can be used in the bonding bill by $5 million. So that is what the A10 amendment does. Is there discussion to the A10 amendment? Representative Carlson, I've got to be making your day increasing the target for the Capital Investment Committee.
Well, as you know, I've been arguing that for some time, so every step is helpful, but we might want to discuss a little later an even bigger step potentially. But At any rate, I do have a question with the stadium reserve account. What I hear now is that there's also an impact there with the veterans' homes. Is that part of the, because there's, when you take it down to zero, that's 26 million from our discussions of the budget reserve earlier. So you're using 5 for the bonding bill today, and are the veterans' homes in play with this as well?
Well, I think the best thing to say is, I mean, we're just taking off the limit on the stadium reserve. I mean, you know, we're not proposing to change anything on it here. I guess, you know, to the extent there's something that goes on in the bonding bill on it, I guess, you know, you'll have to, I don't even recall what's been posted on that, if anything, in amendments today. But I guess I don't know that I'm in a position to talk about that.
Okay.
We're just proposing to take the limit off so there can't be any double counting. And I know that was a concern, Mr. Marks, that you, I think, had. Can you speak to that?
Mr. Chair, this would remove it so whatever goes on with the stadium reserve account is no longer limited by the budget resolution. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Mr.
Chairman, would that
Carlson.
change any of the, I know that you referred to the 5 million,
Right.
so are any other targets relative to any of the bills going through the House changed then as a result of that? Because I assume then that 5 million means we'd subtract 5 million from the 26, whatever the odd number of dollars were there. Bringing it down to 21. So are there any plans for that 21 is what I guess what I've.
You know, I have to say, I guess not in this committee with what is coming up, no.
Okay, well then, Mr. Chairman, wouldn't that 21, if that was going to be used for a target somewhere else, would that not have to, wouldn't we have to, with the budget resolution, change the target?
Representative Carlson, if we were going to put that money into another committee,
what I'm
yes,
referring to, yeah.
we'd have to change the target for that committee.
So we'd have to reconvene to use that 21 is what I'm saying.
We'd have to reconvene to use that 21 if we were going to change one of the other targets on here, yeah, because we'd be increasing the amount of some targets.
For another bill going through, then would we have any access to that 21 for an amendment?
I don't know, Mr. Marks, can you answer that?
Well, Mr. Chair, the net effect, if an amendment is drafted to transfer money from the stadium reserve account, if an amendment were drafted to transfer 10 million from the stadium reserve account and then spend 10 million, the net effect on a target is 0. So other targets would not necessarily have to be changed if both of those things were met.
Okay. I haven't had a discussion with the author yet, but an amendment we adopted rather quickly the other day took the programming out for public television relative to the opioids. And I think that's 1.5 million, and I was going to talk to the author about that. That's one of the reasons that I was wondering if other amendments might be in order without changing targets on other bills. That may be, my comments now may be news to him, but
All right.
I planned on talking to him, but at any rate, that was something that I hadn't noticed the other day when the bill went through, that was with the amendment removed.
Okay.
But it's a special programming that they were going to do relative to educating people on the issue. That takes us off of what's before us right now, other than it does impact on how we can use the changes in the budget resolutions as we move forward. There might be other amendments today on other bills that people might be interested in, so.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Sure. Any other discussion to the A10 amendment? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of the A10 amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion prevails. The A10 amendment is adopted. Are there other amendments? Representative Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe I have the A6 amendment.
Representative Hillstrom moves the A6 amendment.
Mr. Chair and members, this makes it so that the bonding bill could be $1 billion. I think that that is the proper amount that we should be spending and working off of. I believe that there are many, many projects that are necessary for this state and that we could make great progress if that were the size of the bonding bill, Mr. Chair. And so I would encourage members to support that. I believe Representative Carlson would like to speak to the amendment as well, Mr. Chair.
Representative Carlson.
Yeah, well, Mr. Chairman, as you know, going back to when we originally adopted the budget resolution, that was a number that we were very interested in from our side of the aisle, and felt that at that point, the 800 later changed to 825 was a little tighter than we thought it should be. And so this amendment then would, if adopted, allow for a $1 billion bill, which has been our position, if you will, in this committee from the adoption of the budget resolution until this morning.
Representative Hillstrom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And if no one else wanted to speak to the resolution, Mr. Chair, I do see that you are beginning to move in a direction that I would like to see the bill moving. And so if no one else wants to speak to it, I do intend to withdraw the amendment, Mr. Chair, in hopes that the bill continues to move in the direction I would like to see it go.
Well, I do want to just say respectfully, Representative Hillstrom, you know, we did have a $1 billion bonding bill last year, and actually this bill, as it is now, is an over $1 billion bonding bill, because of course we have the 1.2. We have an $825 million of GO in it. We've got now 13 million and change in cash. We've got $50 million of affordable housing bonds, and we've got a couple $100 million of transportation bonds that we carried, trunk highway bonds, in the transportation bill. So of course it has gotten to be a significant sized bill, and I guess I just, speaking for myself, would say I don't think that it needs to be any larger than that.
Yeah,
Representative
yeah,
Carlson.
Mr. Chairman, we're aware of those other additions, but we were talking about general obligation bonds, and that was where we were coming at it from with our number, and we're very aware of the other. Might I ask you a follow-up question to a discussion you and I had on the floor on Thursday when we were talking about the growth of the bill? What's the status on the $100 million that was talked a lot about last week of appropriation bonds that would have been funded through LCCMR?
You know, I guess I don't know if I have anything new on that, Representative Carlson. I would say that this is not necessarily our last meeting today. I mean, we still have the LCCMR bill in our possession, but that's been sort of a leadership discussion as to whether there would be something happening there. But that's not going to be part of the bonding bill that's passed on the floor today.
Well, that was part of what our discussion was. That was the timing, and you said it hadn't been decided, so I guess the status is still the same, then it's undecided as to...
From what I know, it's undecided, Representative Carlson. It's not going to be part of the bonding bill today, but yeah, certainly it could be something that came forward as its own standalone bill with bonding in it.
Yeah, standalone bill.
Well, an LCCMR bill that just had bonding attached.
Okay, so it would be a package of the LCCMR bill that would include appropriation bonds, or when you said standalone, I thought maybe you meant just a bill.
No, I mean that if something would happen in that, well, you know how it is, there's all sorts of ways you can do things around here, but I guess if something happened with that now, I would expect the most likely thing would be that the existing LCCMR bill would be amended to add LCCMR appropriation bonds to
The
it.
reason I raise that question is so we, like I've said at other meetings, it's important to know what the roadmap is.
Yep.
And so, again, if you can let us know what the decision is on that, we'd appreciate it.
Okay.
I think Representative Hillstrom did you withdraw it?
Mr. Chair, it is my intent, I withdraw the A6 amendment.
Okay, Representative Hillstrom withdraws the A6 amendment. Thank you, Representative Hillstrom. All right, and then all right, all right, members, is there any other discussion I don't believe there are any other amendments posted to the budget resolution today, so we've adopted the amendment we need to adopt so that the bonding bill is in order on the House floor today. Is there any other business to come before the Ways and Means Committee before we recess? Okay, well, members, then remember, we're going to come back and do the pension bill after we adjourn session today, which I expect will be a long time. Not sure what time that will be, but, you know, could be late afternoon, might well be evening. I know there's a lot of bills on the calendar for today, but,
I think about half an hour for the bonding bill.
all right, yeah, it depends a lot on you, Chair Erdahl, well, and those who you work with on the other side, but Representative Carlson.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, do you plan on meeting then immediately after we adjourn, or are you going to convene the Republican caucus?
I would be planning on meeting immediately after we adjourn.
Very good, thank
I
you.
mean, it may be getting late, so I don't know that, unless you feel like you need to caucus with your folks, I don't know that we need to caucus here.
I don't think we do. We would if you were caucusing, but if you're going to meet immediately, we won't.
Yeah, no, I think we'll meet immediately.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, members, we are in recess.